Northeastern University, Boston in 2017. He had experience of working with great industries like Atos India, Dell, TripAdvisor, and currently he is working at LogMe in USA as a sales data analyst. So I heartily welcome Mr. Aditya Tawde. We are glad to have you here on the Agnes, sir. I will request sir to take over and enlighten us.
Hi everyone, my name is Aditya. Can you please raise your hand if you can hear me? Just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. Awesome. Yep, sounds good. And can you see my screen? Like now, can you see the presentation? Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. I thank you for the wonderful introduction. I want to say that it is an honor to be here and speak with the current students of fc.crit College. And I want to thank Anita ma'am, the whole EXCC department, for giving me this opportunity. I have been in your shoes and I've taken the same subjects that you are taking, given the same exams, and also sometimes failed in prelims. I guess no one can escape that at Father Agnles. After that, I have had my shares of struggles and I've seen my friends go through a lots of ups and downs. And today I wish to share a few of those experiences with you. Before I start, there are three things you need to remember. I know it's 2:30 p.m. in India. It's almost the end of lectures for you, and you just want to get it over with. And nothing I say will be in your exam. So there is no motivation at all to listen to me. And usually I would sympathize with you, but today it's 4 a.m. for me right now in Boston. So if I'm staying awake, I'm going to make sure that no one's sleeping, no one is surfing something else, and no one is distracted. I might call on your name randomly and I'll ask you to unmute and then I'll ask you some question. So stay awake and stay sharp. The next thing is what I hope to achieve. From my introduction, you heard I have completed my 4 years diploma and 3 years of engineering. In those 7 years, I attended lot of guest lectures. I don't remember all the guest lectures, but few of them I do remember. One is by Kenneth, and one was by a group called Seniors on Call. And I remember those is because what they said helped me in my life. And my hope today is if I can inspire one of you, if you remember one thing I say and it helps you in your life, my efforts will be worth it. And the last is at the end, I want to keep around 5 to 10 minutes for you to ask me questions. And again, if you don't ask me questions, I'll have to randomly pick on people and I will ask you questions because in the entire history of Agnels, no lecture has ever ended early, and that includes guest lecture as well. When I was in Father Agnels engineering, I hated coding, and I know that from my MATLAB practical sessions that I did. What I really liked was microprocessor and microcontroller and electronics. So in last year, when there was campus placement going on, I decided to wait for the pure electronics company to come on campus. The first company that came on campus was TCS, and my whole class sat for that placement. I skipped it. Then a lot of companies came on campus, all IT companies. I skipped all of them. Towards the end of the year, when no electronic company had come on campus, I was thinking maybe I should get a job before I graduate. It would make sense. And that is why I sat for the last company which came on campus, which was the IT company, Atos Origin. I gave the interview, cracked it, got the job. When I graduated, I started working in Atos in August. I learned coding, I got a project. I was working on something called as CRM, Customer Relationship Management. 10 months in the job, I realized I still hate coding and I don't want to do this job. So what do I do? Without having any backup, no other job in my hand, I just quit. I was that frustrated. And I spent 3 months at home before I found my next job. And in those 3 months, I did what any normal human being would do. I went on YouTube and I saw all the videos about finding your passion, following your passion. And all of them said, made a list, make a list, what you like to do. And that is exactly what I did. I sat down and I made a list. What are the three things I like to do? I like speaking with people. I like helping people. I like building network and connections with people. So taking a step back, thinking which job would have all these three things where communications is kind of the centerpiece. I concluded sales. Now imagine this 4 years of diploma, technical education, 3 years of engineering, technical education, 7 years of technical education, and I decide to take a job which had no relation to anything I had studied. So I started working at a startup and sales. It's a very terrible combination. I had crazy work hours, I had hectic schedule, and I was frustrated. So what do I do? No, I did not quit my job this time. This time I decided I will learn something before I quit my job. And while I was in this loop of taking a job, hating it, quitting, again taking the next job, hating it, few of my friends had gone to US and they were studying for their masters in different universities. And they spoke so highly about the courses they took, the electives they choose, and the projects they're working on. And I was like, no, that is something I would like to do. And while I was working in the startup, I was developing a skill and I was drawing my knowledge, my skills from ATOS training. Salespeople also use CRM, but on the front end. And in ATOS, I was working on the back end. So I used my back end skills to download sales data and sales report. I was analyzing that data. And that is when I realized I like data analytics. And this is something what I would like to pursue. And I started dreaming. Maybe I should pursue my master's in US in data analytics. The only problem, I belong to a middle class family and I had taken a loan just to pay the final year fees of engineering. So now taking a loan, which would be around 36 times the loan I took for paying engineering fees, was crazy. My dad said it would be a financial suicide if I take this loan with no guarantee that I would have a job, I'll be able to complete my master's. And it made sense. My dream was crushed even before it started. And this is when I met with my best friend. She was applying for her master's in US. I told her why I can't go to US because I don't have the money. And this is when she gave me the best advice of my life. She said, even if I give you all the money you need today to go to US, you can't go to US the next day. There are a lot of steps involved that you need to complete before you go to US. And it made sense. Like I can't go to US before giving GRE, TOEFL, applying to colleges, getting an admit, visa, loan, all those things. And she said, just focus on one thing. You know, it might happen that you give GRE and you might not even get good scores to go to US. And that would be the end of my dream. At least I tried, right? Thinking about that, I said, let's focus on GRE. And I had money enough to pay for my GRE exam. I was doing job for 9 to 6 and then studying every day consistently for GRE till the date I gave my GRE. I gave my GRE, got good scores, step one, checked. Same process. Job after office, study for TOEFL, check. Letter of recommendations, college essays, applying to colleges, giving visa interview. When I did all these steps, my parents could see that I was serious and I was willing to work towards this. And that is when they agreed that I could take a loan and go to US. And then I took the loan, came to US, pursued my masters, got a couple of jobs, and then I'm currently working at Logmein in Boston. What once started as a dream, which seemed impossible, became possible. And hence, I want to tell you, if you have a goal which you want to achieve and which seems impossible, could be possible. You just need to be consistent and work on it. There are a few things I learned from this experience. First, if your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough. You need to understand this. No one in my family, and that includes everyone on my mother's side and everyone on my father's side, had ever been outside of India to attend any college or take any education. So being first in my family was very scary. I still dreamt of it, worked towards my goal, and achieved it. Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. If I would have just made the commitment that I need good scores in GRE and did nothing, nothing would have happened. I needed to consistently study. Through my job, consistently study every day. And that is what I did. I committed and I was consistent with my effort and I achieved my goal. And now you're imagining he's all talking about GRE and entrance exam, but how does this relate to us? And I want to talk to you about this guy, Sandeep. We were in diploma together and we came to Father Agnles Engineering and we were in the same class. The worst subject that a diploma student is at is M3, math. We were all terrible at it. My plan to study for M3 is study before exam, study before prelims, study before board exams. Sandeep, he is a very smart guy and he had figured out the key to success. He knew consistency is the key. So what he would do is every day he would go home and he would just solve five math problems every day throughout the semester. He did this every day, five math problems. And by the end of the semester, when we were giving board exams, he was so confident that he never had a brain freeze. He could solve any problems that came the exam. And he got a score somewhere in the 80s, while me, who had a random plan of studying just before exams, was able to just manage to pass and get grades in 40s. So whatever your goal is, commit to that goal and go back and just figure out what you want to do every day and just do it. The last is if your goal is big, it's not going to happen overnight. You just need to focus on the process and one thing at a time. Goal is something which you can't control. My goal for GR is 310 plus score. So that's my goal. I can't control if I get 310 or not. But the process, I study for 1 hour every day. That is in my control. So you should set your goal and just focus on the process. Your job is not to worry about how I'll be able to score 310, how I will consistently study throughout the days remaining for GRE. Your job is to just think about today. How can I commit to my goal and just do what I need to do today? So that is my experience. I just want to see if any of you have been through something similar like this, where you thought something was impossible and then you were still able to achieve it. It could be as simple as getting an admission in fr.crit college. So can you please raise your hand? Yes, I see someone raised the hand. Just going to give it a minute for people to raise the hand. No one, it could be a small thing. You don't have to think of something big, which took years or months to achieve something. Nope. Okay. If you really did not have such experience and you're not commenting or raising your hand, that's fine. But if you are shying and you don't want to raise your hand in front of your friends, I would really suggest that you don't do that because this habit is not good. If you want to grow in your life, you need to be proactive. You need to speak up and not think of what people would think about you. While I was in my journey of figuring out how to go to US, there was another guy, Saurabh, in my class who was on a very different journey. He graduated without getting an on-campus placement, and he decided that he would study for his UPSC and MPSC. He wanted to serve the country, and for that, he went to Delhi to join classes and study with people there. His parents live in Mumbai, so you need to understand he was staying in Delhi, away from home, away from comfort, sharing his room with his classmates, and eating canteen food. They have to study 12 to 16 hours every day. So 1 year went by and he did not crack any exams. Second year went by, he could not crack any exams. Few of his classmates could crack the exams in Delhi, but he could not. And people in TCS who were hired in our batch were getting promoted to senior software developer in 2 years, posting pictures of going out, having fun, partying. And here, Saurabh is studying 12 to 16 hours. And after 2 years, he said, maybe I should try something else and study somewhere else. So he came to Pune and he started studying in Pune. Same, away from family, eating canteen food, sharing room, studying 12 to 16 hours. Third year, no interviews cracked, no entrance exam cracked. Fourth year, no entrance cracked. By this time, these TCS folks were now module lead and team lead. And Saurabh is still studying. Few of our classmates even got married. So imagine this, Saurabh had so much pressure from his family, his relatives, his friends. Everyone's telling him that, Saurabh, 4 years is enough. You've tried a lot. It's not working out for you. Just take some job, a private sector job, and just start working. But Saurabh, he believed in himself, his passion that he could do more. And he said, I need more time. And at the end of 5 years, finally he was able to crack his first government exam for Indian Railways. He got the job. He started working in Indian Railways. He was posted in some remote village in some station and he was working there. Saurabh, he was not satisfied. He said, I deserve more than this. I believe I can do better than this. And he kept on studying. He would do his job, go home, study. He kept the same routine, was consistent. And finally, he was able to crack the entrance exam for his dream job of being an intelligence bureau officer. He is today an officer in intelligence bureau. What I learned from him is stop comparing yourself to others. You have no idea what their journey is all about. What brings you joy would not be the same thing that brings them joy. So don't try to compare if people are doing something, posting pictures, that would be the same thing for you. The second thing is find what you love. And if you have not found it yet, keep on looking. Don't settle. Saurabh was passionate about something, so he kept on pursuing it till he got what he deserved. If you have a passion, my advice to you is work on it. It might happen that you might have to take a job which is different than your passion, but as a side piece, as a side hustle, keep on working on your passion until one day your passion is so big that you can monetize it and it's paying you or you're earning much more than your job. And the third is do the best you can. No one can do more than that. You need to understand that coming first in the class is not the only thing. Different people have different capabilities. The topper, they can retain more information. You might not be able to do the same. But what is important for you is to be a better version of yourself. Just focus on that. Try to be better every day. Now, Albert Einstein once said, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, the fish will think its whole life that it is stupid. So if you're a fish, don't try to climb a tree because someone else is climbing a tree. Find the water, it's your strength, and focus on that. Okay. I want to open this up for people to raise a hand. If you have found your passion, I just want to see if people know what they're passionate about. It could be singing, it could be dancing, it could be speaking, you could be an Instagram influencer. So can you please raise your hand if you think you have found your passion and if you would continue doing it? Yeah, I saw someone raising their hand. It's good. Awesome. Yeah, it's a great thing. If you have found your passion, I would say keep on working on it. And don't think just because you're good at it, you don't have to work on it, because hard work will beat talent every day. So you also need to do the hard work and be good at it. Life will knock you down. The sooner you understand this and accept this, it would be good for you. No matter who you are, where you are in your life, you will always sometimes face some problem. I was at TripAdvisor when 2020 started, and I was working with this guy Rohit. We would always talk about what we want to do in future, and he would say, I want to start a business. I want to save some capital, go back to India and start my own business. No matter when you ask him, like 1 month down the line, 2 months, 6 months, a year, his answers would still be the same. Just a couple of more years, so a small more amount of money savings, and then I will go back to India. In May 2020, he went to India to attend his sister's wedding, and that was the peak for Corona, and the flights were shut down. No one could come to US, so he was stuck in India. And at the same time, TripAdvisor, where we were working, decided that they are going to let go, they are going to fire 25% of the employees. And just to give a perspective, it was 1,000 employees, and Rohit was one of them. Now he was stuck in India, lost his job. He had just 2 months to find a job, and all the companies were firing people to save money to survive for more months because everyone was taking losses. He couldn't find a job and he gave up. He went to India. He by just taking few documents, his passport and two bags. He sold everything he had here in the US with the help of his friends. Now in India, he had an option to start a new job in Mumbai, maybe. But he said, maybe this is the time I start my business. Maybe I can't start a big business because I don't have a lot of capital, but I should try to start at least a small business. So he started a business 7 months ago. And I'm happy to say that his business is doing really well. And he also started another business 1 month back. So life knocked him down and he decided to, you know, face it and do something with it. And he's very happy. He's very busy, but he's very happy that he's finally doing something that he always wanted. What I learned from him is sometimes the bad things that happen in our lives put us directly on the path to the best things that will ever happen to us. I don't know if you saw this video of a guy who was working on a cruise. He was a chef. He was earning some 70,000 rupees per month. He was a new chef. And when the corona lockdown happened, no one was going on cruises. So he was let go. He had very less savings in his bank. He tried finding a job as a chef. No one in the local restaurant was hiring him because no one was coming in restaurants. He was at home dipping into his savings and not having any source of income. That is when he decided to take matters in his hand. He said, I will use my cooking skills, I will make something and I'll sell something. He started making biryanis and started selling it on the roadside. First couple of weeks, very few people bought the biryani because no one knew how it tasted. And the rest of the biryani, he would just give it for free to people. He was taking huge losses, but he kept on going. And soon the word spread that he makes awesome biryani, and people started buying biryanis from him. And now he's earning much more than what he would earn on the cruise. And he's happy he has his own business, he has his flexibility, and he's earning much more. The second thing is get out of your comfort zone. Start where you are with what you have and do what you can. Another guy in India had a restaurant and because of corona couldn't pay his rent and had to close it down. He was used to having people cook for him, have waiters in his restaurant. Now he had nothing. He just was at home and with few limited utensils. He said, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm not used to this, but I'm going to give it a try with what I have, and I'm just going to do it. Now he makes food at his home and sells it in his nano car. He's out of his comfort zone. He's not maybe earning as much as he did in his restaurants, but he did not sit at home, complain about the situation. He is out of his comfort zone. He's getting awesome publicity, and I'm sure he's going to do well because he's out of his comfort zone. And the third is rough seas make a good sailor. There was another guy who was fired, one of the 1,000 people who was let go from TripAdvisor. His name is Jason. He was a sales director in one of the teams. I called him up and I was speaking with him. He was not angry. He was not annoyed. He was not irritated. I was like, "How can you stay so calm? You just lost your job." And he said this was not the first time in his life that he was let go from a job. So in his previous company, he was let go as well because of some different reason. And during that time, he was angry, he was upset, he was very frustrated that he lost the job. But soon he could navigate through the interview process and find another job. So, because of the same thing that happened to him previously, he could draw inspiration and take example from his previous experiences. I could get a job back then, I can get a job now. And that is when he said, rough seas make a good sailor. And this is what I want you to remember. If you're doing a job, anything can happen, you might lose a job. Don't be disheartened. A job is not your life. A job is just a part of your life. Always remember that. Lose a job, you'll find another job. But don't be upset. Keep trying. Awesome. I want you to raise your hand if you have seen or heard of someone whose life became awesome after something bad happened to them. Can you please raise your hand? Great. And this is great for you because you've already seen that happen to someone. So if it happens to you, something bad happens to you, you can think that if that person can change things around, even I can do it. That is awesome. I told you about Rohit, who went to India, lost his job, one of the 1,000 employees. I told you about Jason, another employee, one of the 1,000 people who lost a job at TripAdvisor. There is one more guy who lost the job, who I personally know. It's me. I lost my job too. I was one of the people who was among the 1,000 people who were let go. I was on my H1B, and what that means is it's a work visa, and I just have 2 months to find the next job. If I can't get the job in 2 months, I have to pack everything, go back to India. Imagine that. Working so hard for this, being consistent, putting in all the efforts, cracking interviews, getting a job to reach where that I lose my job, risk my career. And I was very frustrated. But I kept on trying. I got 18 interview calls. I gave around 40 rounds of interview and I got selected in the 18th company, which was Log Me In. During this process, what I did was I took a step back and I thought, what is the worst thing that could happen if I don't get a job in 2 months? And the answer was, I have to go back to India. I can find a job in India because I have some working experience here. I have my master's degree. So getting a job wouldn't be so difficult. I would have a place to stay with my parents, food to eat. So my worst case scenario now didn't seem that worse. So I said, I need to take this jump, a leap, and give it my best. Because even if I fall, the worst case is not bad. And that is why I was able to give all the interviews with confidence without the nervousness that I would have to go back to India in 2 months. If you have the pressure, you would be nervous, you won't be your best self, and you might not be able to crack the interview. Each interview rejection was like a failure for me. It was very frustrating, but I kept on going. 17 companies rejected me, and 18 ones hired me. What I learned from this is things will not go as planned. No matter how good a planner you are, things will not go as planned. There will be surprises in your life. I have had a plan that I want to work for many years, earn some money, get some experience, then come back to India. I had no control over COVID-19 or the lockdown that happened, but I made sure that I gave my best, and whatever happens, I knew my worst case scenario. The second is make your own luck. Not many companies were hiring during COVID-19. Everyone was trying to have a tight budget. So why did I get 18 interview calls? That was because, remember, I said I like speaking with people when I took the sales job, my passion. That is what I did in my internship and my two full-time jobs before I was let go. I was speaking with so many people, setting up one-on-one meetings. I didn't know them personally. I just would reach out to them and say, "Hi, I see you are a sales manager or you're a manager for analytics. I want to speak with you, see what you did in your career, how you did it, what is your advice for me." So I was interacting with them, taking information from them. So they knew me. They know that I'm a genuine person. They know what skill set I have. So when I reached out to them for finding a job, everyone was more than happy to help me get a job. Now, how this would relate to you is I know someone who was a junior at Father Agnles when I was studying in engineering. That person joined a electronics club. She was going there working with other people who were interested in electronics and they were working on some projects. And they had mentors who were helping them with those projects. Now, when a job opening came in this mentor's company, he hired one of those people who were working on the projects there. Why would he post a opening outside, collect hundreds of resumes, screen them, then interview people just on the basis of meeting them for 30 minutes an hour and the basis of one paper resume? He would definitely hire someone who he has seen in person working on projects. And that is how you make your own luck. If you're interested in something, join clubs where people with similar interests, similar mindset come together. They share their passion. So if one person knows of some opportunity, he will or she will share it with you. Speak with as many people as you can in the field that you are interested in. Reach out to them, ask them how they gave the interview, how you applied for the jobs, and what advice you have for me. And that is how you make your own luck. The last is everyone feels at something. The classic example is Mark Zuckerberg. He built games, he built many apps before he created Facebook. He failed in all those previous ventures before he succeeded and created Facebook. Michael Jordan, a legend basketball player, has missed so many baskets, so many shots, but he kept on trying and he became good at it. So, if these great people can fail at something, accept it, and learn from it, who are you and me to not fail? Obviously, we'll fail. Jeff Bezos of Amazon has this core principle at Amazon. They call it fail fast. He is encouraging people to experiment with things, small experiments. If you fail, that's okay. Because if one experiment succeeds, it's going to compensate for all the failures that you had. So don't be scared about failures. If you fail, that's okay. The only thing you need to know is you need to learn from your failure, learn from your mistakes, and don't repeat them, and you will succeed. Anitanam already told me that you might have had a career session or you might have a career session soon. So I'm not going to go into a typical career talk. I just want to talk about the mistakes I did so that you don't do it. So this is what my advice to you is. Start with whatever you have. Don't wait for the perfect company, the dream company, or the electronic company to come on campus. Start with anything you get. You will either like it or you will not. If you like it, keep doing it. You are lucky you have found out that you like something in the first attempt. If not, don't quit the job like I did. You'll be frustrated sitting at home and applying for jobs. So don't do that. In the current job, learn as much as you can because those skills will be useful for you. You work for 9 to 6, 9 to 5, and after office, you work on skills needed for the next job you want to get. Once you have those skills, you apply for the next job, you get the job, and the cycle repeats. You like it, you keep doing it. If you don't like it, keep the loop going on. You just always need to remember dots connect backward. And the best example is I worked in Atos on CRM, which is a customer relationship management tool for sales. I worked in a startup in sales. I was a sales rep, so I knew the sales business. And at TripAdvisor, I was a sales analyst. They hired me because I had the sales knowledge and the CRM knowledge. There were many other analysts. Everyone knew how to analyze the data. Everyone had a master's degree. Everything had the common set of requirements or educations that was needed. But the X factor that got them interested in me was my experience from India, which I hated. So I just picked on the important things and skills I needed. So you never know what you work on, what you learn might be useful for you in future. So don't think of a job as something and do it in a half-baked way. Give your full commitment, learn something from it. It will be useful in future. And the second thing I want you to remember is always have multiple sources of income. I have seen so many people lose their job. Not having savings in the bank or minimum savings was a nightmare. You never know when you will get the next job. So you don't want to rely on just your savings. So use the after office hours to work on side hustles, your passion, how you can monetize them. There are so many opportunities and options out there these days that you can earn money after office. So always have multiple source of income. So what my classmates are doing right now, I want to share this because I want to tell you not everyone is going to be an software developer. Some of them are software developers, some of them are testers, few of them are electronics engineers in Siemens and L&T. Couple of them are restaurant owner. Lucky for me, I'm happy that they are restaurant owner. One of my friends, Saurabh, he's an intelligence bureau officer. One is forest officer, RBI officer, and many of them completed their MBA and they are working as consultants in finance and banks. Interviews. Usually, I would ask you to write in the comments what you think are the top skills required for someone to get hired. So, whenever you go for an interview, imagine this. If you were the interviewer, you were the manager in the company, what would you want from someone you want to hire? And I have found out that apart from technical skills, which are required, you need willingness to learn because you know something, you know C++, let's assume that. But when you start working, technology changes, things change. So if you're not ready, if you're not willing to learn something new, you'll be stuck and be of no use to the company. So willingness to learn new things is always important. Curiosity. You need to be curious about things. You need to ask questions, get clarity, and make sure that you're doing the right thing. Just don't assume that something is right because someone said it. And third is interpersonal skills. This is one of the most important skills. I have given terrible presentations in Agnles, technical presentation. I didn't put a lot of effort and thought when I was giving presentation. But over the time, I have realized that speaking and presentation skills are the most important skills one could have. Because if you work on something and you can't communicate what you worked on, then there is no use the company because they won't understand what you did. And the last is being proactive. Don't wait for someone to tell you to do something. Find an opportunity to make something better and work on it. That shows that you are really interested in the well being of the company, the team, the project. The last thing I want to talk about is motivation myth. We always think that we want to go to the gym, we'll get motivation, we'll go to the gym. But things don't really happen that way. Motivation doesn't work like that. I will give an example of washing dishes, as I assume many of you would be doing that. If you want to wash the dish, you don't wait for motivation. You get up, you decide that you want to wash one dish. You go there, you wash one dish, you feel accomplished, like, I completed this task I had set for myself, and you get motivated. And then you think, while I'm at it, why might as well wash more dishes, and you finish the job. And that is how motivation works. If you think of solving 50 math problems for M3, you are not going to get motivated to solve all of them. You just need to say to yourself, I'll just solve one math problem. I'll practice math for maybe 5 minutes. And once you start it, you get into the zone of getting the feeling of feeling accomplished, getting motivated, and you keep doing it. That is how you get motivated. And that was all I had to share with you today. I was hoping to take questions from you. If you want to ask anything about career, interview, motivation, studying abroad, I would be more than happy to answer your questions. We have 10 minutes. Okay, can you raise your hand if you want to ask a question? Okay, Karmesh, you can unmute yourself and you can ask a question.
Hello, sir.
Yep.
Uh, First of all, good afternoon from my side. Uh,
Mhm.
I just wanted to know that what are the current conditions in the US after the vaccine has been launched, and
Okay,
how are the universities like accepting the admissions, or are the colleges starting regularly, or still they are being
sure.
conducted online, or what are the
Yeah.
admission procedures right now?
Yeah, sure. So the vaccine process has started. People who are healthcare workers are getting vaccinated first. People who are at health risk and above 75 or 70 years are getting vaccinated after that, and general public will start getting vaccination around April or March. And universities understand that it's a risk that people would be taking to come to US. So many of the universities are working tentatively on allowing students to attend maybe one semester of fall from India, but it depends university to university. But you can apply to universities, you can get an admit. I would advise if it's in a normal cycle, get an admit. And if things are not normal, if things are not good, you can just defer the admit to the next semester. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, so one more thing, sir. Thank you for
Mhm.
the previous answer. One more thing is have the like admission procedures or like anything has been presumed like earlier, like the visa rules, or they have been revised over there due to
Yeah,
the COVID and the government change thing, or have they been revised or something like that? The visa rules.
yeah. So getting admit and visa are two different things. Getting admit depends on universities. So universities are keeping the same cycle, hoping that things will be normal in future. About visa, there are not many open slots in India. So you might get an admit, but you might not get an appointment for visa. And that has happened to many of my friends. They had appointments for their work visa stamping, but they couldn't get slots and they are getting postponed to November, which is terrible. But if you don't get a visa slot, you can tell the university that you didn't get a visa slot and they will defer your admit, or maybe they'll allow you to attend lectures online. Okay. I see that. Yep. You're welcome, Karmesh. I see that Piyush, you have a is Piyush there? Yeah,
Yes,
you
sir.
can unmute yourself.
Uh, so how do I get over my stage fear? Like whenever I have to present something, I get nervous and forget
Mhm.
my topic. And
Yeah, yeah, that is a common fear. If you can unmute yourself, sorry, mute yourself, I can just answer that. Awesome. What I have realized is one, repetition is the key. So you should first know your content so well that you will not forget it. So you're confident yourself that you know the content. The second is you record yourself. I have taken trainings in US about speaking and they would record us and they would show us our own video and point out where we did mistakes. So set up a camera, give the presentation in front of your camera and record it and replay it and see if you were sitting in the audience, would you like it? So that is preparing the content. Stage fear, there is no simple solution to stage fear than to being in that situation. So my advice is there is Toastmasters Club. I'm a part of Toastmasters Club in US. There is also, I think, Toastmasters in Navi Mumbai. You can be a part of that. That community is about people getting together and giving prepared speeches. And those are all random people. So it's almost like giving presentation to someone you don't know. And the more you give presentations, the more you get used to it, and then the more better you get at it. So just record yourself, practice, repetition, and giving more of presentations in Toastmasters or any other settings Sure, yeah.
Like, what
That's a
would you
good question.
suggest?
Yeah. Ivy Leagues always have a low acceptance rate, so it will be difficult to get into those. They definitely have good professors and good programs, but that doesn't mean that other colleges won't have a good program. It will not happen that Ivy Leagues would have all the programs which are best. Some colleges which are mediocre or not at a level of Ivy League colleges might have one program that you are interested in, which is better than the Ivy League itself. And that has happened. Like I have a friend who went to North Carolina State University, and for them, I think she was taking some embedded electronics course or something. And that was a very popular course there. And she could get a job in Intel, and many of the people from those that university were in amazing companies like Qualcomm, etc. So really depends on which program you're looking into. College doesn't really matter a lot. You'll get similar kind of education, and companies also don't really discriminate that much. I have friends from Northeastern who are in Microsoft, Apple, Google. So it's not just that big companies are hiring from Ivy League colleges. If that is your end goal to get a decent education similar to Ivy League, but end up in working in some awesome company, you can still do that. You don't have to be in Ivy League colleges. Just I won't be able to comment on which program is good. So my advice is reach out to someone who is already studying there and speak with them, or who has graduated from there. And that is what I did. I found common connections, people of going to Northeastern. I spoke with them. I had a complete idea of which courses I would take, how difficult it would be. I already had asked for their syllabus copies so that I was sure that the subjects or the courses were not too difficult for me and I would be able to complete them. So reach out to people, speak with them, and this will obviously help you in future if you are here and trying to get a job. Those people will remember you and refer you.
I also have one more question.
Go
So,
ahead.
you spoke about the financial conditions that you faced. So,
Mhm.
we also come similarly from a middle class background and all. So, do you know or could you suggest any possible sponsorship ways or anything that you would suggest us and recommend us to do so that it would be easy for us to get into
Yeah.
colleges, getting scholarships and all?
Yep. So the state universities are much cheaper than the private universities like Northeastern. If you go to any other state university, that will be cheaper. Definitely, scholarship helps a lot. And for me, my goal was to at least find an on-campus job. So look for a university which will give you an opportunity to get an on-campus job, and you'll earn decent amount of money that you can pay for your rent and living expenses. So that is taken out of the equation, and scholarship, and then finding universities which charge you less. And some of the programs which are recently launched, for example, Northeastern has launched data analytics course 3 years back, so they want more people to take that course. So they are offering it at a lower price than any other course. So those are the factors you could look into. And before you take a loan or think of going to US, I thought of this. I said, what is the worst thing that is going to happen? That I would have to go back to India without a job in US, still have a loan that I have to pay, might take 10 to 15 years to pay back the loan with Indian salary. And that would be worth it. I want that experience. So if you know your worst case scenario and you are okay with it, then go ahead with applying.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I see Anika. Is that your name?
Yes, sir. So my question is, if for a moment you start to feel overwhelmed by the complexities of life, how do you simplify to get where you want to be?
Yeah. So just in life in general, or do you have too many things that are going on?
So in life in general.
Okay. Yeah, I just have learned of this metrics called urgent versus important. So I make four quadrants and I place things in those four quadrants, and I just focus on urgent and important. So those things matter the most. So you just need to focus on those. The rest all is just noise. You can deal with them later. And you need to prioritize what is more important to you. And you should focus on those things. There is a 80-20 rule that is very famous. In that, author had said that 20% of the work you do would have 80% of the impact, and no one can do 100% of the work. So just figure out what that 20% is for you, prioritize that 20%, and you will achieve 80% of what you really want. And that is what the maximum thing people can do.
Thank you, sir.
Don't call me Sarah, but that's fine. You're welcome. Awesome. I don't see any more hands raised. If that is it, if you want to connect with me, you can join me or connect with me on LinkedIn. If not, I have an Insta page called bebetter.in. It's a place where I post motivational content. If you're looking for career information, I have Goal Study Abroad, which I recently started. I'm interviewing many of my friends and teammates about how they got the job, what skills are needed, so that freshers can know what skills are needed and what a job in that position looks like. So follow me, ask me questions there. I understand that not everyone wants to ask a question right away in front of everyone. So you can send me a message on any of these and I'll reply. Aryan, do you have a question?
What's it like to use 100% of our brain?
Well, I don't know if I have used that much brain, but I just try to do my best. I try to meditate, be calm, prioritize. I have a morning ritual. I start early before my office starts, so I have time to sit down and think what I want to do. I meditate for some time, and I plan my day so that I'm not rushing. It's not that I have a 9 a.m. meeting and I'm getting up at 8:45 and just sitting for my meeting. So having a calm mind helps you use more of your brain is what I feel. I'm not sure if it's 100%. I think that is it, Anita ma'am. Before you say anything, I want to thank everyone for listening to me for an hour. I had a wonderful experience. Thank you for raising your hand and asking questions. The more you ask questions, the more you'll grow in life. And I just want to encourage you to participate more in any lecture you attend and just grow. Hope we all become a better version of ourselves. Thank you.
That's great, Aditya. Siddhika, are you there, dear?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for being with us despite the time difference from your side and our side. You shared a lot of different stories about failure, your experiences, which were relatable to us, and it keeps us going on. It encourages us in many ways. I'm sure, like many, I just like I felt, many of my friends will also be able to relate to it, and it will help us in many ways. I would also like to thank all the teachers and my fellow friends for participation in this session. Now I like to request to Kalucharan to present the certificate to the sir.
Oh, wow. I don't think he has a certificate.
No.
Are you making it now?
Don't forget, it's Agnles, okay? We all
Yeah.
follow deadline very efficiently.
Yeah.
Is it visible now?
Not yet, Khalid. At least I'm not able to see. I don't know.
No, it's not there. That's fine. You can email it to me. I'll post it on my LinkedIn. That would be awesome. Yeah, you don't. Everyone doesn't have to wait for my certificate to be seen on screen. It's fine.
Okay. Let's give him a 2 minutes more because he has taken all the efforts, to make the certificate. Sure. Yes.
No, I will make sure that I post it on LinkedIn and everyone sees it.
Please,
that's not a big
do
deal.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Aditya, this is your certificate, and thank you once again. As Siddhika said, it's really wonderful, and for us teachers, it's great to see students like you talking and motivating others. I mean, I'm sure that even I can take certain things from your lecture, but it is, I know, it's very nice to listen, but I just hope that I'm able to follow it, I'm able to implement it also. And yes, I know that you were a bit hesitant for this time difference, but again, as a teacher, I give you a very bossy instructions that you can manage for one day. Thank you so much for listening to that. Thank you so much, Aditya.
You're welcome. this is my goal for this year, that I want to give as many guest lectures as possible, and you made it possible. So I just jumped on the opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of my comfort zone, and if I tell you to do that, I have to do that as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Aditya. Yeah. So now I think I'll declare that this officially the meeting is over. You can leave.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Have a good
I
day,
think
guys.